They can kind of identify who's being a snake or not. You'll be the first point of contact and people will find you first. Now, what my professor has told me instead to do, rather than trying to do more than what you've given, is to show. She approached me via LinkedIn and offered me a job opportunity. This really taught me the importance of. Hi everyone, this is Day. The topic for today is little tips and tricks or advice for those who are starting a new position, maybe a grad position, maybe an internship, for anyone who is kickstarting their first professional career, anticipating to have any form of work experience anytime very soon. I recently got an opportunity to have a consultation with one of the professors in Yonsei University, pick on his brain for any sort of tips and tricks working at a company as a graduate, and he shared wonderful stuff with me. And combining my personal experience, having numerous internships, work experience, project work during my time at the university, I thought I would share a couple of points so that it helps you to have idealistic working life when you first start your career. So without further ado, let's get started. Tip number 1, don't try to cut corners. So the professor told me at a management level, and when they look at graduates, interns, or any fresh newbies, they can so tell if someone is cutting corners and they're not taking the legitimate pathway to do some work. They can kind of identify who is being a snake or not. That could be taking an advantage over someone or doing a work in a non-standard appropriate way that your boss has told you to do so. I was able to sort of relate to what he was saying because when I tutor students, I can also tell who's doing their homework properly or who is actually just looking at the solutions, not doing these questions wholeheartedly. We all know that it's not going to work well in long term, and this might result in trust issues or any opportunities that might come in future. Secondly, build networks and do not underestimate the power of relationships. The professor told me that when you first start a role, be respectful to anyone that you interact with, even to those who you think you would never have any touch points with. That may be someone from a completely different team or a department or a faculty. And it is inevitable at work that some relationship may not go really well, but it's the attitude that he was emphasizing. And the reason why you should build good network and facilitate good relationship with others, but you never know what kind of opportunities may be thrown at you from that person. He or she that you interacted with in an elevator for maybe 20-30 seconds might remember you and might invite you to collaborate on something or might give you some good opportunities at work. Because when you first start your role, that's when you have the most potential. You could be jumping around different projects. People might find you at different point of time. If you have been building good relationship with everyone in the team or everyone in your organization, you'll be the first point of contact and people will find you first. That really accelerates your career at the start, and it can make a huge difference in long term. For example, there was a time when I met a lady who was a representative of a company who is coming to our university for a little session. I myself was also running the workshop. Her session came after mine and we were just waiting in the waiting room before the event started. Obviously, there was no obligation for me to approach her and start a conversation. Kinda knew that I was representing my university, so I wanted to leave some good impression. So I approached her, I started a casual conversation. How's your day? How'd you get to uni? What's your position? And she also asked about what I do in my role, and I explained what I do at the university. I shared a couple of stories from my previous work experience and so on, and she asked me about what my future goals, my career objectives are, and I also shared that quite transparently with her. That was only about 5, 6, 7 minutes conversation, and I went into my own workshop and she went to her workshop. And someone could say my effort to engage with her was completely unnecessary, but I was so surprised to find out that she approached me via LinkedIn and offered me a job opportunity in the area that I shared my passion with. 6 months later, this really taught me the importance of building a good network, even with someone that you might think you will never ever see again. Obviously, you don't have to go above and beyond, but at least if you've got the opportunity to start a conversation with someone or to build even a very shallow relationship with someone, especially to those who are starting their career, initiate some conversation and expand on your network. Third tip, don't try to stand out and try to go way above and beyond. And on a side note, don't try to be an expert at work. Now, when you start as a graduate or an intern, especially at a big company, you'll have a whole cohort of graduates or interns, and a lot of students actually try to stand out from the crowd by going way above and beyond, doing more than what they are told to do so, or by doing something else or doing something extra other than what your manager or your boss has told you to do so. Subsequently, when they receive a task, those newbies try to do things perfectly, and they want to show their managers that they are beyond capable of doing these tasks and they are expert in this area. Now, standing out does not necessarily mean it's a bad thing, but if the management can see that this person is such a try-hard to stand out, that might not necessarily instill a positive image. This was also an advice that I received from a HR manager from a very big and prominent organization, saying there was a time when he gave a graduate a job and he came up with so many other different stuff. But then the manager was thinking, wait, if he had time to do so many more other stuff, he could have just approached the manager and asked, oh, I've got some spare time left. Is there anything more that you want me to do? And he would have given a more relevant task that will help the project. But this graduate did so many other stuff that may not necessarily count towards the actual project. Because at this stage in your career, you don't really know what's going to be valuable, what's going to contribute to the task or the project. Because at this stage in your career, it is quite difficult for you to sense which type of extra work actually gives value or makes the process of project faster. Don't try to stand out with performance and work. Every managers expect graduates or interns to be very basic in their understanding of the work or the industry. They don't expect anyone to be an expert, so that's totally fine. Don't try to overly stand out from the crowd. Now, what my professor has told me instead to do, rather than trying to do more than what you've given, is to show interest to go above and beyond. There's a huge difference between you trying to go above and beyond versus you are being interested in going above and beyond. That's the type of attitude that the managers want from a graduate or an intern, rather than someone who's doing stuff that they have not been told to do and they say, oh, I went above and beyond. Rather, it's less risky, but also builds some good reputation when someone shows interest to go above and beyond. It could be questions like, I finished my work early, is there anything more that you would like me to do? Or you can say, I saw a training on topic X and I find this to be very relevant in my professional development or the project that I'm working on. Would you recommend me to participate in this training program? Something like these actually shows the employers that you are willing to go above and beyond, you're thinking to go above and beyond, and you're trying to get that process approved by the manager. Then your manager can see that this graduate or an intern is actually interested and passionate in the work that they're doing, and they are constantly thinking about their personal growth and development.